A very, very warm good afternoon here from Germany. Good evening to you in India, and good day wherever you are in the rest of the world. This is Arun Chaudhary. You are live on my YouTube channel, Arun Foot. It is Saturday, August the 9th, 2025. It's another Indian football discussion here on my platform. And at the start of the show, as I always like to say, if you like the conversation, if you want to help me grow the community, please like, share, and subscribe. Let's grow this community where we can speak about the things which are important to Indian football. And for that, I need all of your support, not only those of you watching live at the moment, but also those of you who might be watching this deferred later on. Thank you as always for your support. And also do watch the short videos that I do try and make on a daily basis. Today's video is on the topic of that 11 of the 13 ISL clubs have written to the AIFF to reach out to the Supreme Court. Before that, yesterday regarding the AIFF FSTL ISL club meeting, Khalid and AIFF still to agree to the contracts, and then a lot of things around ISL, AIFF, Khalid Jamil, clubs, all of those, and thanks a lot for that. Konnichiwa, Goku. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Rutro, good evening to you as well. First topic, of course, let's talk about something positive for once. To me, I think women's football is something which turning out to be rather nice. So to me, that is something which I'm finding interesting. Just to go through the qualifiers as well. In Group D, the situation, which is very, very interesting to see. India, Myanmar on 4 points each. Myanmar, the goal difference is 2 goals less than India. Myanmar beat Turkmenistan 6-1. India beat them 7-0. So important. Also that late goal from that happened in that game. India in the first game drew goalless against Indonesia. Indonesia then held Myanmar to a 2-2 draw. And that I think is an impressive feat in itself, because Myanmar was leading 2-0 after 53 minutes, and then double strike 69th and 72nd for Indonesia earned them a draw. And suddenly this group is actually insane that India, Myanmar, as well as Indonesia all could end on 5 points, because it looks like Turkmenistan is by far the weakest team in this group. And the advantage that India have over Indonesia is that India have scored 7 goals against Turkmenistan, but Indonesia have a 2-2 against Myanmar. So if they score 7 goals, they go past India. So therefore, for me, interesting scenario, interesting situation. So therefore, we'll have to wait and see what happens in that. But again, I hope that our under-20s can do that. A lot of people were disappointed after the goalless draw against Indonesia. Maybe we all underestimated Indonesia a little bit. So therefore, an interesting match day coming up tomorrow. Interesting, the first match tomorrow is between Myanmar and India, and the second match is between Indonesia and Turkmenistan. So if India draw against Myanmar, which is possible, of course, and so therefore, let's see where we are, where we go. And to me, let's hope that the under-20s can follow in the footsteps of the senior women's national team and qualify for the AFC U20 Women's Asian Cup. I seen U20 match against Indonesia was terrible, against Indonesia was good. We won't have Goku. Again, why was it terrible against Indonesia? Why was it good against Turkmenistan? Very, very simple. Indonesia was the better team. So therefore, we also have to look at the opponents. We can't always look at ourselves and say, we are this, we are that, we're whatever. We have to look at the opponent, the quality of the opponent. And in this sense, we've seen that in the women's competition. When we played Mongolia, we scored 13 goals. Why? Because Mongolia, it's not even a competition to us. Thailand was competition to us. We overcame them with a number of factors in our favor. And that will be tomorrow needed again, also against Myanmar. And therefore we'll see what happens. Let's wait and see whatever happens. But I'm wishing and I'm hoping that the under-20s do well. No watch along tomorrow. I'll be busy with some local football. Tomorrow, the local football season starts here in Germany. So I'll be Busy from tomorrow onwards with that. So therefore, Sundays I will have to even see tomorrow. I won't even be able to do a live, most probably, if at all. So therefore, yeah, that's something. So therefore, let's see what happens. And tomorrow, again, one of our Remscheid clubs going to KFC Uerdingen. Roshan is there. Roshan will know, a former Bundesliga club in their stadium used to host 34,500. The Grotenburg, this venue of a team which has won the German Cup, a team which is most known for its legendary comeback against Dynamo Dresden, the East versus West Germany UEFA Cup match, a 7-3 win. So therefore, yeah, looking forward to being at the Grotenburg after many, many years. Turkmenistan, one of the weakest countries in women's game, was no, it's not. No, I'm not commentating for it's SSV Bergsporn, Roshan, our number 2 team in the city here, and they're playing in the Niederrhein-Pokal, which is the regional cup, KFC Uerdingen. And because in Remscheid we can't host such a game because of police reasoning, we are playing in Krefeld tomorrow. So I'm really looking forward to that. Ruth says, BS reason by Kirby given to not go to court. Yeah. I think the question has to be, why do I think that he didn't go on, doesn't want to go to court? Just look at the sports code, look at the sports bill, look at the scenario around that, and then you'll realize that if the sports bill is implemented, Kalyan Chaube is no longer eligible to be in the AIFF after that. Right? So therefore, for me, Kalyan Chaube wants to stay in the AIFF and I guess stay as long as possible. And therefore, they are fine for the case to dangle in the Supreme Court. If there are collaterals, and this is the question that the club should have asked, in my opinion. I think someone on the show stood up and said, Mr. Chaube or Kalyan, that's the problem. The current AIFF wants to stay in its position, in its power as long as they can, because if there are elections, I guess none of them stay, or most of them are gone. So that is something I think that you and I and we need to keep in mind. And, so therefore, yeah, that's what I said. And so therefore, I'm not sure. So therefore, for me, this whole thing is what is the way out of this situation? The way out of this situation is if the AIFF and even Reliance at the time, they also have their legal lawyers there. That someone would, what, if this contract either is not extended, is the contract is not extended, or the contract is ended, whatever it is, there are 2 options to this situation. Then the top tier National League doesn't happen. And that is what I feel is the problem in all of our conversations that we want to talk about, that we are not able to find a solution to things. Because why? Because this case regarding the AIFF constitution has been going on now for 8 years. Right? It's not something which is cropped up and then, suddenly nobody couldn't sort it and that's why we're there. No, it's a problem. And the problem at the end of the day is, in my opinion, that this whole thing being in the Supreme Court is the first problem in itself, because we still haven't, despite the FIFA ban in 2022, we've not understood that the law of land stands here, law of sports stands this. If there's one lesson from this whole Interkashi versus the rest case, is that the CAS thing is final. I saw your video today, your quotes on the statement of ISL clubs sounded, for that ISL clubs would threat Supreme Court to go to CAS. No. Why you before going to CAS, you have to try and sort your different levels out first, right? So Roshan, for me, if I look at the situation at this moment in time, if I look at where can the clubs go, where should the clubs go, then I will tell you the clubs first need to go to Reliance, right, and have an internal conversation about what are you doing. Reliance has clearly stated what they stated. Reliance Legal's letter, you know, and then they've now gone to the AIFF, which is the next level. But in my opinion, what I've said and stated to some people, I said, guys, I think the clubs should have gotten together and then send a letter to the AFC and to FIFA just to, like, guys, we just want to keep you informed that this is the situation with the top league in India, right? And then surely FIFA and the AFC would have asked questions to the AIFF. It says, hey, your clubs have reached out to us. What is the status? What is the situation of the league? Why is the league not running? Why is the league not happening at this moment? So therefore, these are questions that need to be asked. And yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how things evolve and develop. I'm not sure at this moment in time because I feel we're stuck in a time warp somewhat. And yeah, let's wait and see. I'm hoping that the clubs, yeah, that where we are. Sorry, again, allergies. So therefore, Roshan, to me, again, good to see that the clubs are being active now, rather or better late than never. But now the time is tight because we are already heading towards the middle of August. The AFF's crazy timeline saying, hey, we can hold a Super Cup in the middle of September. I don't know if that makes sense. I would have rather said, listen, do a camp, post the CAFA Nations Cup and do a camp between CAFA Nations Cup and the Singapore matches, right? So that would be my thing. Let's wait and see what happens. Even if the Super Cup is held, my second question is that, certain clubs have signed players. A lot of clubs are not signing foreigners, for example, or releasing players at the moment. So therefore, mid-January to me looks the most realistic because from 1st of Jan, you have your transfer window. FIFA will not grant India a special transfer window. Say, you know what, because this will allow you a window. It doesn't happen like that. Goku says Bangladesh started their under-23 preparation 2 friendly match against Bahrain, India. What are they doing? I know many players playing Durand. We are facing teams like Qatar, Bahrain, good night. Goku, as far as I know, they are training in Goa. They've played FC Goa, supposedly. I still have not seen anything official from FC Goa or the AIFF about a result from that game. But that match supposedly took place. And anything else, I can't tell you. So that's our preparations at the moment. We're a mess. Again, Goku, if you're expecting anything from the AIFF and Indian football, sorry, wrong. So that's the thing. AIFF considering, no, again, as I said, Goku, we are there and we'll have to wait and see what happens. And I think we'll see. Again, if you think that we are in a situation to be able to beat the opponents that you've mentioned, then that is going to be that's a tough one in my opinion at the moment, if you ask me. Good evening, Zoravar. Good to have you back. Are you watching the Mohun Bagan versus the Diamond Harvest match? No, I'm not, Zoravar, because I've not seen any of the Durand Cup matches so far, to be very honest to you. And to be honest, as I've said a few times, I have this year I've not really been interested in the Durand Cup. It's happening for the sake of happening. Certain teams are playing because they've been sort of forced to play. It has no value at the moment, right? To me, it's one of those tournaments. I'm just, for the first time, I'm really looking at the groups. I don't know. It will be very interesting to see what happens because to me, we have bigger problems than the Durand Cup happening, and that's my concern, that a lot of people don't realize that we can talk about this, we can talk about that, we can try and do this, we can try and do that, But if we don't really bother about the problems that we see that we really have, and so therefore for me, it's and yeah, it's where we stand at this moment in time, and that makes it very, very complex, in my opinion, right? So therefore, yeah, let's wait and see. Jan Dhanda got loaned to Dundee. Yes, Jan Dhanda has been loaned within the Scottish Premier League, and yeah, someone now 26, Dundee FC, is with Hearts of Midlothian. Yeah, it's someone that we could do with, a player of a quality that we could do with, but let's see if we ever see in an India shirt. I'm hoping with a lot of things, but again, this is a very difficult one. Your view on Mohun Supergiant and East Bengal not in this AIFF club's appeal? Roshan, it is more about Mohun Bagan than East Bengal. I think there is an informal, unofficial pact that if one of those two does not go ahead and protest about something that the other would not do, which is again old-fashioned thingy. But that's, I think, the understanding between Mohun Bagan Athletic Club and East Bengal Club, and I think that's the view that they've taken at this moment in time. The problem is, we go back to the whole discussion, do these two clubs think that they're above things that are happening in Indian football? And I would say still yes. Right? So that's one of the many problems that we face at this moment in time, that two of the biggest entities in Indian football don't want to be part of the conversation. To me, it's a big conversation that needs to be had. And again, what I've said over the last few days, the problem in Indian football is, and has been that our clubs don't really speak in one voice. It has been the case in the NFL when they tried to affect the AIFF in 2001, 2002. It happened in 11 and 12 when the I-League clubs got together, and and for me, again, this is repeated because why? Because most of the clubs just think about themselves, which is understandable. But the understanding, and this is why I think the new structure, why they need to understand that you are part of something bigger, something greater than you are. And if that is not understood, which is, again, as I say, is a case at the moment, we will continue to struggle. And that is where we're stuck at this moment, sadly stuck at this moment in time, that we are looking at things where the clubs are unable to really grow in something, so your opinion regarding Chelsea close to signing Garnacho, is it a good addition in your opinion? Zoravar, if you ask me about Chelsea, who's in the squad, who's not in the squad, if I would have looked at the squad on, I don't know, mid-May, towards the end of the Premier League season, and look at it now, Garnacho is a very talented player. I mean, he was even linked with Bayern Munich for a certain period of time. The question is, you brought in Jamie Gittins, Joao Pedro, you brought in this, you've got Liam Delap, you've got other players, very talented. But Enzo Maresca's biggest task is, do you think ISL clubs shouldn't have been more quickly approached? Situation currently going on, why delay this much, sir? What do you say? Wouldn't they approach Reliance, FIFA, AFC, FIFA? Kuku, I just said. I mean, there are videos on my channel. Look at what I've said. I said 3 days ago, what options do ISL clubs have? I've said this X number of times. Yes, they were too late because they were thinking Reliance will sort it out for them. The whole problem is that the clubs didn't think about themselves, right? They were just waiting for Reliance to sort it out for them so that they don't have to bother. That's been their approach. And yeah, it can be said it's right, but I remember that this was a conversation even in 2014. It's like, don't do everything to Reliance. We as clubs need to be, doing certain things ourselves. And that has never changed. This approach, this attitude has not changed, and that's the which is there. So that's a problem. To me, I remember I made a video 4 months ago around the end of the ISL, asking question: was this the last ISL final? Yeah. And so to me, I've said AFC FIFA. I've said they should have approached. They haven't done that. Reliance conversations have happened. I think I would have hoped that they would have gone to Reliance at an owner level. I think that would have been the most effective thing. That hasn't happened. That hasn't happened for actually 11 years. I mean, the last proper meeting between Reliance or IMG Reliance at the time and the club, the 8 original clubs, was in August 2014, and I was part of that meeting. So that shows you what the system has been running. You're not bothering. You're allowing to run. Yeah. What is to say? Ranjit Bajaj in a podcast was saying he wants his team to play the better academy tournaments, but doesn't get the invitations only for them to get advantages in smaller tournaments. Rohit, he says a lot when the day is long. And again, you guys care about this. You're giving oxygen to all these things, right? In the rest of the world, nobody cares if an Indian academy, and it's not him, it's just all of them, right? It is nobody cares, right? And playing those, I've said this again and again on this podcast or on this live shows or in my things. If you want to go to Europe, go there for 2 weeks and play proper teams in friendlies. That's your real test. These Mickey Mouse tournaments have no value. And you're not even playing the top tier of these tournaments, right? You're playing the second tier or even third tier, 7-a-side, 9-a-side football. What's the value in this? What's the value? I mean, it's a nice holiday for the boys and playing a little bit of football in between against basic academic grassroots sides, right? If they would be losing against those teams, then the question should arise, these players should actually say, thank you very much, stop playing football. We are playing against academies which aren't even academies. So where is the point of all of this? And everybody's falling to this trap and believing all of this. It's like, where are we? Come on. If you want to play academies, get in touch. Ranjit, I'll help you. I'll help you to come here. Let's play Bundesliga academy sides. Let's see how you can feature with your team. Then you'll have a real understanding. Why? Because we did that with India in the 70s before the World Cup. Those were real tests. And we lost most of the matches, right? A draw was a rare thing. So that is the way to do it, not this. Again, and this is a whole PR strategy of guys. And again, I'm fed up of talking about this thing. Sorry. How should Indian grassroots improve when both AIFF and Hindi belt state affairs are not conducting grassroots properly? Average foodie, are we dependent on the Hindi belt for success? My first question in football, are we dependent on that? My first answer would be no. Is it set to change? To some extent. Look at what Interkashi is trying to do, right? So UP football is something which is slowly, clearly evolving and developing. And if we want to do things the proper way, there are no shortcuts. If I want a shortcut, yeah. Will the rest of you see the hype feature which Arun was talking about? I've not seen it again because I guess it's my channel, but supposedly it's available. The hype function do help me, So, yeah. Therefore, let's see what happens. I need your support. As I always say, I need your support. We need to grow this community. I can only grow it with you together. And again, 8 likes so far. I think we can do better. And yeah, grow the community. I need your help. The bigger you help me to make this channel, the more influence I can try and get on things and push on things to try and get things in the right direction, right? What do you feel as Bayern Munich fans seeing Thomas Müller in Vancouver shirt? Roshan looked weird at the start. I'll be honest about it. it looks odd seeing Thomas in the shirt. Also knowing Thomas a little bit, having worked with him a little bit at Bayern. But I think it's the wise step. If he wants to go to America, sorry. And at the moment he doesn't want to play in the US, right? Given all the realities of what's happening in the US, then the Whitecaps is good. Whitecaps have in Axel a German sporting director or technical director, if you want to call it. And it's an interesting thing. Jeevan Badwal, Indian origin boy, also playing in that team. Let's see how good he connects with the Desi crowd in Vancouver. Vancouver is a very Asian city, a lot of Japanese, Chinese, Indians in there. So yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah. Minerva didn't get invited because they aren't good enough. Beating random E50 team doesn't make us a kind of podcast. Yeah. Hey Blue, I am doing fine. Little bit of allergies again. It's after the last 3-4 weeks where the weather was a lot of rain and damp and wet. It's a little sunny, but the allergies are back. Diamond Harbour FC squad is a proper ISL. So they want to win the I-League. That's the ambition of Diamond Harbour FC. And Diamond Harbour FC, we could talk about, we're talking the other day about money, this and that, everything. Diamond Harbour FC, calmly, quietly, yeah, of course, there's money, there's political influence in the background, but that money is being spent well, right? There are examples, if you spend your money well, you can go to the top, so for me, that's the thing. So let's see. If the I-League happens, if the ISL still exists, let's see where Diamond Harbour FC go. And if Diamond Harbour FC in the long term continue to be successful, and let's say in East Bengal, for example, Mohammedan Sporting fail, I think that we will see a very interesting shift potentially that Diamond Harbour will get new age fans supporting them because this family bond to the clubs. I mean, I've seen now a lot of East Bengal fans, family-wise, that the younger generation actually are supporting Mohun Supergiant because of success. So therefore, let's wait and see. Is it the Mohun Bagan Athletic Club thing or RPSG thing about Mohun Supergiant not appealing with other ISL clubs? RPSG, it's Mr. Goenka. I think Mr. Goenka, again, dislike for AIFF is there, and he doesn't see a value in this. And again, because at ownership level, who am I to suggest? But I would have said a few things. I said, guys, you need to come together and actually work on things and work as one. So this is a very, very key element, in my opinion, that why are we not talking at two different levels? One is at the owner level and one is at the CEO, general manager level. The general manager level conversations are happening. That's good. But why the owners are not there? Right? To me, that's the thing that's needed. In my opinion, I would have organized it and would have said, guys, get together. Let's let the owners sit there and let's even do a physical meet in a big round. Because you have to have an understanding on all this stuff. The thing is, Bajaj uses patriotism and also in some cases misinformation influence gullible Indian football fans and instead making misleading grades and fooling people. Sadly, yeah. And people are falling for it, right? Reliance said 2 years ago, I guess U9 or U13 boys to Japan and suffered hefty reject. Yeah, Roshan, they've been sending teams to Japan, Reliance Foundation a number of times. And yes, the defeats against school teams was really bad. So therefore, the reality, I don't need to go to Europe. If I go to Japan, if I go to Korea, Indian teams will suffer bad results because our youth guys are not good enough. Are you surprised by Tajikistan win? No. We played Turkmenistan and they're not good enough. So therefore, hype feature. Zoravar, supposedly you can see, if you click on a video of mine, that there is a feature besides the feature of that you can like or dislike, share, save, that there is a hype option. So to me is you can support channels that you want to push. This is intended for smaller channels, and again, mine is a smaller channel. So if you hype my videos, more people will be able to watch it, and then more people will be able to access those. And then if more people can access those, then potentially more people can watch those. And therefore, as I say, I need your support, guys, on these fronts. Otherwise, I won't be able to grow. So therefore, as always, like, share, subscribe. If you've subscribed, you're new, want to ask questions, come to it. And therefore, without your support, this channel will not grow. I mean, I do my stuff. I hope I do them well, but I need your support to grow. And without your support, none of this is possible. Any instance you've had VIP culture taking over Indian football? Yeah, if I see the way VIPs come in and go out of a stadium or whatever, yeah, of course, it's that VIP culture is part of it, right? Because you don't have it in Europe. It doesn't matter. I mean, I've driven on the German autobahn and the German chancellor with her convoy just passes me on the highway. There is nothing blocked for that, right? So I remember Bonn, Cologne. I was driving on the highway. It's a 2-lane highway. I was driving and suddenly I see this and then I realized, oh, this was the chancellor. It's from Merkel who was in the car. And it's in fact this guy's brainwashed. It's hard for me to convince him. Yes, Murali. But I also say the other way around. If you can convince me that my thinking is wrong, if my approach is wrong to something, I should be thinking about it in a different way. Convince me. I'm willing to change my opinions, right? But people always come to me and then try to say, oh, no, you're this and that. I say, no, listen, I talk out of experience. I talk out of knowledge. I don't talk about Googling stuff, right? We've had this in the last few weeks that people come up and say this and that and everything. I said, you're Googling things. You are not talking about knowledge and understanding. But I'll be honest, I also Google stuff when I don't know. But I try and talk about what I know. And if I don't know something, I tell you, right? Sorry, I don't know. Because this is another problem in an Indian culture. People can't say no or don't want to say no. And this is something I know that in Western culture, people have a problem with doing business with Indians because Indians will never say, you know, there's some, yeah. And that is, so therefore, yeah, I need your support. This is clash of cultures. I still wonder the match scored 4 goals against Japan. U17 team by far that get better exposure in Germany, Spain. Still they end up group stage. Only what went wrong. Goku Bio looking at the 4 goals against Japan, but they also conceded 8 against Japan. Don't look at the 4 goals scored. Look at the 8 scored in Japan. On a good day would have scored 15 against us. Right? Scoring 4 goals sounds good to you, but that match that you're hyping up was never the best. The Under-17 World Cup one before them was much better. And there are 2 or 3 other batches which were better. That team wasn't that good, in my opinion. Yes, they did get a lot of exposure here in Germany and Spain. But you know, it needs the help of, it needs the understanding and therefore, very difficult, very, very difficult. But that's the way things are these days. But and since then, Under-17 has been downhill. Ahmedabad hosting a 17 World Cup, are you surprised? No. For me, it's not being surprised. Listen, they are looking at options at the moment of hosting competitions. And whenever you have an option, Odisha, Hyderabad have hosted matches, Kolkata have hosted matches, Manipur has hosted matches. Why? Because the AIFF is looking at options of not paying for things. Yeah. So, Trans Stadia, I don't know, with the city municipality of Ahmedabad or maybe with the Gujarat government, Gujarat Football Association, they've come together and made it possible. Why Africa produced talent despite structure or hunger playing in Europe helped them? Well, because they work hard. They work very, very hard to achieve success, right? They don't moan, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that. They don't have nothing. Compared to an Indian kid, even in rural Indian area where you say, I've got nothing. In Africa, sometimes they have even less. They don't have football boots. They don't even have a football. They put something together which is roundish shape and play with that. So therefore, it is desire, will, grit, determination, hard work, all of that. The thing is, Diamond Harbour FC future is pretty much dependent on next year Bengal election. That's also true. Those are very, very true. Have you worked in Olympics project? Specific Olympics project? Not anything. I've worked in Olympic sports outside of football, but not worked on an Olympic project. Sorry to say about the Goenkas, they are too arrogant compared to others and very stubborn, my personal opinion, ISL, IPL teams. Blue, yeah. Yeah. to the outside world, surely it will look like that because, again, we go back to that IPL instance in Lucknow, no? with the captain, with Sanjay Goenka was trying to convince him. Yeah, they are the way they are, right? And they don't seem to understand. Some others as well, I guess. In the IPL, I've heard from a few people that it's a general thing that they don't understand that you have to work together to try and get something out of things, right? So therefore, that's something difficult, but yeah, you have to work together to get results. Otherwise, you will not be able to get results, and that's, I think, the biggest challenge that there is in sports as teams or franchises, whatever you want to do. Sometimes you have to find compromise to work together, which is in the bigger interest, in the better interest of the game. And this is something which I feel in India, in sports, especially in these team sports, everybody's looking, it's about me, it's about my team. You have to look at the whole thing. And this is something I feel with a lot of people, even, those people who are who I feel who understand football, they don't look at the bigger picture, right? They don't want to look at the bigger picture. The managers are not talking in order of Roshan. The managers who you're calling, the CEOs, the general managers who are there, yes, of course, they're coordinating with their owners, but I think some of them are doing this because they also realize their own job, the jobs of the people who work under them are on the line. The owners can walk away. The owners can say, you know what, shut it down. Okay, I've lost a lot of money, but what can I do? But for the CEOs and general managers, this is about, a lot of them is about their livelihood, right? So that's the challenge. So, yeah, that's the differentiation why these guys are coming together. Why Mandar Tamane, why Ravi, and all the others in there who are fighting for this. Be it Abhig, be it Nitin, be it all the others who are there, that they're fighting for their survival of not only them, but again, we're talking about up to 5,000 jobs who are directly linked with these Indian Super League clubs. 5,000 jobs, So, yeah. So therefore, for me, that's the problem. And if we take the vendors who work for them, we have even more people who are, dependent on potentially on the Indian Super League. That's the conversation we should be having. Hi Raj, welcome back. Oh, I had your AIFF FSDL video through my phone, but the option isn't available on the web. I think, interesting. Again, Blue, thanks a lot. And again, do it as often as you can whenever you watch a video. Yeah, as I said, I need your not only your but everybody's support to be able to grow this channel. And again, do watch the short videos, spread it around. I try and do things which and try to explain things in a simple manner. And yeah, need your support. Do you think people who talk about about football become expert, become some here, there, yes or no? Again, why someone becomes an expert or someone is being followed, there are different reasons to it. But again, people don't want to hear what is the good reality, what are the problems and issues, right? They want to live in their positive world, and that doesn't work. No, in today's world, it does not work. We are, again, I was watching actually some of my older videos. I was watching a video where I had a conversation with Rahul 2 years ago. I was sitting at my cousin's place in Bangalore and talking to him. And I say, oh my God, all the things that I was saying, not to praise myself, but all the things I was saying that these things could happen, that actually happened, right? And yeah, what to say? Monari Mataj. Any sentiment you carried towards India despite their poor football track record? Monari, I think my sentiments towards India are very, very clearly visible. If I did not care about India, I did not bother about India, would I be doing what I've been doing for the last 27 plus years? I think I have passion. So therefore, thanks to India for what I've been able to experience as a country. But I've also experienced stuff through football which I would have never experienced if I was just me as a normal citizen and so-called OCI traveling to India. I would have never gone to a Mizoram and would have seen the beauty of Mizoram and all. So therefore, yeah, that's it. Absolute chaos in Indian football. Yeah, well, I mean, people have been asking me now, right? 2 days ago, people were asking, is this the worst phase that you've seen? It is the worst. Indian football has gone through different difficult phases over the last 3 decades that I've seen, right? But we are about in an existential crisis for Indian football. Will Indian football survive? And that is a conversation where I say, which I find very dangerous. I find very, very dangerous, because those people who are saying, oh, the ISL doesn't need to remain, the ISL can go, this, that, everything. No. At the moment, if you like it or not, we need the ISL. I need the ISL, you need the ISL, we need the ISL. And you know why? Because if we don't have the ISL, then men's club football could disappear, because the AIFF also doesn't then have the money. That combination of the expenditure that Reliance has on the ISL, in combination with the 50 crores that they get without questions being asked, that combination is very, very dangerous in my opinion. And that needs to be understood. And that is not understood at the moment. I've been following Minerva football for 10 years, the Cringe PR side. I want them to succeed. Rohit, any academy, an Indian academy which succeeds is great. But it's apart from the fringe academy, there's a lot of other things which are wrong. And again, people are not calling it out, right? So, sorry, that's the problem. Do you think showing fame and money at young age can destroy? Do you think handling fame very important? Yeah, of course, anywhere, forget sports, anywhere in life, if someone has success at a young or even at an older age and gets fame and money, it can be a problem, right? We've had a lot of footballers who couldn't handle this and then went into alcohol, drugs, womenizing, this, that, everything, and then the career was over. So therefore, these are problems, right? Good evening, Siddharth. Welcome back. The AIFF, especially Mr. Chaub, is trying smartly to put all blame to clubs and showing people who majorly don't know about AIFF and Supreme Court case and portray themselves savior of Indian football. Raj, yeah, that is one. But the other thing is, I said this earlier today. If you want, watch it. That I feel that the AIFF is trying to play the cards in a way to say, you know what, the blame lies on the club. We want, not the blame, but you're playing the thing in a way that you want to stay on and complete your term next year. That's the other thing. And that's my concern, right? All of these things are not happening in the best interest of Indian football. That is my biggest concern, right? That I have. So thoughts on AIFF and ISL club meetings. So no, good to have. I still think that it was important that this happened. I think an AIFF FSDL clubs meeting should happen at the start of every season. I think that should happen, let's say in July every year. I think the AIFF should have a similar meeting with all I-League clubs. They should have a similar meeting with all I-League 2 clubs. They should have a similar meeting with all I-League 3 clubs, which you have in all other developed leagues, right? Your so-called board meetings. But if anyone expected a full proper outcome, sorry, then we live in, that's it, right? And yeah, that's the problem where we are at the moment, right? So therefore, let's wait and see. Hyped your last 3 videos can't anymore because of the 3 hype restrictions. Thanks, Zoravar. Again, do it again and again whenever you have time. I need not only your but everybody's support to grow this. Again, I want with your support to grow that much that again people listen to me anyway. Yeah, but if I have more people backing me, that my social media numbers are big, then who knows, right? I can try to change things for good. Right, 45 minutes of this live. Quick reminder, if you haven't, like, share, and subscribe. Arunfoot, I need your support. 17 likes so far. Thank you very much. So far today, 2,811. Again, at the moment, very weird. It goes up, it goes down, it goes down, it goes up. It's like a stock exchange situation with the channel subscribers. Therefore, I say, need your support, guys. Should hopefully it will steadily go up further, and we move towards the 2,900 and then the 3,000 mark. We are on 9th of August, maybe. Yeah, we've got a little less than 5 months to go. Maybe we can touch the 3,000 before the end of the year. That would be great. Favorite football commentators, you and Ashish Negi. Thank you, Murli. Thank you for always coming back. What's your opinion about the recent AIFF post regarding referees? Blue, very poor. If you ask me personally, because I looked at the post. I mean, I've even, I don't know, whoever's seen it has seen it, Howard. And the third para for me is the most disturbing one. The AIFF urges all parties to remain calm as several competitions are currently ongoing, where many of our referees are officiating matches like the Durand Cup and the Futsal Club Championship. Right? And they're saying other activities, national U20 team, playing men's U23, U17, women's camp in Bangalore. What does that have to do with the refs? Right? So therefore, for me, honestly, they don't know what they're doing. Honestly, sorry, with all due respect, guys, you don't know what you're doing. You're telling people to stay calm. Everybody's worried. Because even the referees speak to people and they realize, oh, there might not be a top tier league. Oh, what is with the I League? Oh, we don't know what happens to the I League. Oh, you're saying, oh, you're doing or not, So for me, it's I don't know. They are not helping their own case. Enemy inside is more dangerous than outside. I find we have more internal. Yeah. By the way, Ashish Negi's kill now got broadcast right for FC Goa. Yeah, for their AFC Champions League 2 qualifier against Al Seeb. Great thing to see, because otherwise there's also the reality nobody else would have liked to shown it. So therefore, it's good. But we need platforms like Kill Now. We need people like Ashish to ask questions, and of course that people are willing to answer. Right. And therefore for me that's very, very important. I repeat that again. And people like Ashish, yeah, we need more of him, right? But who's going to be able to do that with all that is involved? Very, very simple. Any instance you felt adjusting Indian habits, especially when working with Indian football, you find hard to start? Yeah, there are certain things, 100%. But it's not an Indian thing only. I've had this in other parts of the world as well. So yeah, but that's maybe that's also me, but yeah, that is. Omar Suja is dominating Diamond Harbour. See, okay. But that blocks anyone who calls him. Yeah, Rivalry. He doesn't like that. Right? He's threatened people also, right? So therefore, what are we talking about? I said for 4 goals because of the threat. The comment only conceded about 5-6 goals, and that's why I said that I know they conceded 8 goals in a single match, but the match was promising. Goku, if you're going to link this batch is promising because they scored 4 goals in Japan, both sides, right? So this was a high-scoring match, right? For me, I look at the end result, and the end result is a -4, so to say, which is we lost by 4. Scoring 4 goals is great, is good, but conceding 8 to me would be the bigger worry and bigger concern. Sorry, where did I end up? Sorry, where did I go? People who says we don't have facility or development process like Europe, just look at Africa and think, yeah, very well said. Win Uzbekistan friendly match, even though we lose to them in the second match, but the exposure they got from Spain playing against Bhutan top clubs team match still. They end up in group stage, the same thing that have done by Indonesia this year. And because we didn't qualify for Asian Cup, still Indonesia invited to play a friendly match. I don't know what was the result. Some says win against them. Later they went to Amsterdam for 2 months. After that, what they have done is remarkable. And again, Goku, you're comparing things. It is not a 1-to-1, and therefore it makes no sense. I question him. I got blocked on X. Yeah, that's the reality. Good evening, Dark Knight. Welcome back. In your 27 years, have you seen worse of Indian football or any other country compared to now? Branch? If you want, there are a lot of countries who've struggled, right? If you look at Pakistan over the last decade, right, with all their struggles that they faced. African countries, remember Kenya a while back, but ours are fundamental problems. I mean, Pakistan doesn't even have a national league, so therefore they don't even have the issues that we have, right? They've been talking about creating an ISL style league, I don't know, for the last 7-8 years. But for us as a country, as the size of ours, I was seeing some people comparing our problems with that of the Chinese, and they're like, the Chinese have problems at a different level than ours, right? If I want to compare to the Chinese, their problem is they invested a lot about a decade back. It looked good. Guangzhou Evergrande, one of the best in Asia, won the Champions League. Fabio Cannavaro is coach, this, that, everything. Marcello Lippi, this, that, everything. Then COVID came. Major Chinese corporations realized that they have a problem, and suddenly they have to try and figure out. And then, I mean, Evergrande as a group has disappeared, right? One of the biggest groups in China. So therefore, their problems are different. So therefore, for us, and I just look at India, this is the worst that I've seen. Kalyan wanted president post at expense of Indian football. Yeah, maybe. It is surprising you don't forget your roots despite work in bigger football project, work in powerhouse country. No, that's me, right? I mean, think about it. That I have if I look at things, right? I when I started off in 1998 and started indianfootball.com, again, there was no thought about behind it, honestly. People say, oh, I did this and that. Oh, in those days, you created things and you just wanted to create things, created a website. I got replies from people, got involved in things. And the late 90s were, again, Baichung went to England, that England tour 25 years ago, all those things were happening, right? Female players coming to Germany, this, that, everything, helping AIFF to do camps here. And think about it, I did a camp for the AIFF when I spent my own money. I was a student at the time. Myself and Chris spent money out of our own pockets to get the whole thing organized with the help of the DFB, right? And afterwards, I remember certain people said, oh, we didn't play good teams, this and that, everything. Islam Akhmedov and the players were thankful, and they will be thankful to play. But this is the problem. But still, I try to do whatever little I can. I am not a millionaire, billionaire, whatever. I do the little things that I can. And, so that's the reality. Perspective versus structure. Essay praising thieves is perspective. You shouldn't write an essay praising thieves, so you don't. Structure. Louis van Gaal. Hoppa? Yeah. Louis van Gaal. And a crazy manager, I say, in a positive way. And yeah. Okay, now have broadcasting rights for ACL 2. Great for Ashish. Yeah, Raj, for that match. And that is great. Because it shows the involvement of a KNO platform to potentially broadcast some part of Indian football. Let's see. Off-topic question: I've received a threat because we heard news people who takes them face issue. Yeah, of course. On social media, surely people have said things about me, but I don't care. I have tried to do what I've tried to do. I will not say everything that I've done is right, but again, I'm not like other people. I try and do whatever little I can, right? So yeah, if people don't think I'm right, if people don't want me, then it's okay. But I will do I always say my mistake is that I should have started this YouTube using platform earlier. I should have done it during COVID. And who knows where this channel could have been now. It doesn't matter. But to reach out to people like all of you and others, and and trying to speak about things which I feel and I think are right and wrong. Yeah. People who say savior of India forward question would like to ask. Murali, I know that they're not the saviors of India. None of them are. You're part of the problem, you're not part of the solution. That is my only thing that I say to so-called saviors. Right? I could also say that I could save Indian football, do this and do that. I don't do that. I try rather talk less, work more. I know what I've done over the last 27 years for Indian football, right? And there's nobody in the world who knows what I've done or not done for Indian football, because I know, right? I know what I've done. And I've done more than all of these people together, right? They've earned money and done this. Yeah, I've not done this for money. So Kalyan Chaub is out of his mind. He doesn't have any capability. Yeah, but what are we going to talk about that? Do you rate Tyson Singh from that batch? Impressed for her? Do you see potential? Rather, to get onto the Changte level, I think he has to do much more. Changte, to me, if I look at the last decade, the last 10 years, Nalinswala Changte was the most talented of the kids, by far. That's why we tried to put him into Norway in 2019. Huh? That's why the whole trial was organized at Viking Stavang. And again, they wanted to take him, right? That batch failed to qualify FC 7 Asian Cup. They lose to Thailand. Yeah. They drew against Thailand, lost one against Uzbekistan, got destroyed with Japan. Yeah, those are the realities. Can you recommend an Indian Youth Academy to support? Why do you want one Indian Youth Academy to support, Rohit? Why don't you support all of them? I mean, youth academies, it doesn't have to be a club or doesn't have to be something else. Support all of them. Why support one? Support all of them. And then, again, when they play against others, there's a different. I think, for example, Classic Football Academy that Renedy built, right? Great academy, right? Look at the moment, they're producing most of the talented players. Most of them handpicked by Renedy at some stage. And that shows you, if you, the right will and desire, right? And also to work the right way, then you're going to do it. We don't need age fraud and manipulation or other things. It can be done. Which is more worse, China or India? Dark Knight. China has a structural issue, but they have the infrastructure and everything else in place. They have structural issues with the league and the finances, but still, the CFL is working. It's not collapsing, right? The CFL is still there, and it's the comparison doesn't work. What made 2002 U17 team special? Well, the potential, quality, the grit, the desire, the fight, right? Sorry. That team had, and Islam Akhmedov as a coach, great guy. I mean, to give you context, in 2001, a friend of mine, I got introduced to someone who was politically well connected and loves people, this and everything, and loves football. And this guy then introduced me to Islam Akhmedov. The AIFF Shield was going on. Islam Akhmedov was playing actually with the under-19s and under-16 in 2001. And Islam Akhmedov said, you know what? My under-16s, they can go to the World Cup. They are talented. This and that, everything. So, oh, great. And again, as I tell you, in 1999, 2000, 2001, the feeling was different. We were thinking of India will now conquer the football world. Again, I was 24, 25 years younger. I had a different approach. And I then said, after we had a dinner at mainland China in Calcutta, and the original mainland China in Baliganj, I said, let me see what I can do. I flew back to Germany, got in touch with the German FA, and the DFB said, yeah, why not? We've got a special. I actually, via a friend, got in touch with the president of the German FA. He didn't know who I was. Some small little guy from Remscheid writing to the German FA president. Actually, official letter at the time. He actually asked the secretary to get in touch with me. Think about this. And I then said, listen, India's trying to do stuff and blah, blah. We've got the sports school, in Hennef, which is, about 80 kilometers south from where I live. Could we do something over there? And they said, yeah, let me see what we can do. They reduced the cost, funded part of that trip. The AIFF had to pay for the flights. We got everything organized, and they spent 2 weeks away. That is how it's happened. And in the background, Chris and I were, who was one of my colleagues and partners in IndianFootball.com, we tried and organize stuff and get things ready. And yeah, that's how we did it. Two young guys in their 20s running a platform called IndianFootball.com, studying at the time. Yeah, that's how it all started. And to answer, Zorawar, your question, which player from 2002 match, in your opinion, had the highest potential? There were 3-4 of them, I would say, not one. Islam Akhmadov always used to speak about Goramangi Singh, even though Goramangi was not, Mangi was never a starting player, actually, was, but he was tall, he was good, and he was intelligent. Shubhatopal, right? Mal Swama, Chota Mama, as he was called. Chota Mama most probably was the most talented, very skillful player. Even against FC Cologne, when we played there under 16s, he was the best player. Yeah. And as a defender, maybe Habibur Rahman at the back, Malanki Suting up front. That team had a lot of Nikini, all of these players, a lot of interesting players. Sheshko close to Sani for Man United. Zorawar, I thought it was done, wasn't it? I thought the German media has said that the deal is done, close to. I find it interesting. Yeah, it's done. It's not about to be done, but it's a done deal. Benjamin Sheshko is now a Manchester United player. I'm a little surprised, but it shows you the pull of Man United rather than playing for Newcastle and playing Champions League. Very interesting to see. You often mention they spoiled rich kids. What do you mean by that? I don't mean they spoil rich kids. I mean, what I mean in football is that by money that you give to young players, for them, you can spoil them with the money. No, that is my point, Monali. That if you offer a kid from a forget poor background, even from middle class backgrounds, the money that you offer in football at the top level is very, very high. If you're 18, 19, 20 and you offer the money that you're offering, sometimes it turns your head around and you want to do this. Listen, social media is also a big danger, I feel, right? With these influences, with this and that. Not everyone's going to be successful, right? So very, very difficult. FC Madras looks like a promising football academy. Their performance in youth leagues have been good, plus they have a good facilities. Yeah, Zorawar, yes. But I remember listening to their owners talking about interviews trying to monetize the whole thing, and then I do get worried that when owners talk about monetizing an academy, very, very, not very difficult, very, very impossible. The Savior is giving interview at every channel now and then. I think it's the right time to bring him for discussion. I'm definitely no, he will not. Raji will not come because they get exposed left, right, and center here. Right, I have no chance. National team not starting until 16. Jamshedpur FC qualified for quarterfinal. Khalid, Rudro. It is. Let's call it what it is. It's a disgrace. What's happening around the Indian national team head coach job? They've made a fun out of it. I feel, in the way that they've appointed the coach. I mean, I've been arguing about this with people, and people tell me, oh, why this? Listen, the point here is very simple. To me, the point is very simple, that if you've got criteria to appoint an international coach with international qualifications, up to 10 years of experience, yeah, then most of the people don't qualify for that, right? And Khalid is not agreed, still not agreed. Wants a 2+1 at least, or ideally 3-year contract. The AIFF, and I think the AIFF should have been clear in their job description So yeah, it's a disgrace what has been happening. And there's a lot of people who should be asked about this. They should be called out. These so-called advisors to the president, Armando and Bimal, with all your experience, gentlemen, Shabir Ali as a technical person, experienced, Vijubhai, guys, this is not a time for experiments. And that shows you that me very clearly, you could have been the best player, some of the best coaches, but you're in positions that you don't fit. This needs to be a practical decision. Does not. You've taken an emotional decision. I want to appoint an Indian. This is my thing. Yet, yeah, that's the reality. FC Madras along with BFC, FC Goa with the academies against H4. Yeah, there were Mizoram FA, Reliance Foundation to add to that. I think it was Dempo as well. They were the 6 who got together. After COVID, I gave up with Indian football, stopped watching matches. But after I joined you 3 years back, I got hope and started watching Indian football. Raj, thanks a lot for that. But or should I say sorry to you that you started following Indian football again? Yeah, I can't say much, right? I mean, it's sad. If I talk about the way I speak about it, as I spoke about it today, in regard to 2002, how we did this, or 2001, 2002, right? Yeah. So who knows? Maybe we can change things. Who knows? How was a German friend reacted when they arrived in India for working on Work project? Well, it's fine. He's been in India, a few times now. But I remember last time around we traveled from BKC up north via Dharavi into Santa Cruz, and you got to see the real India, right? That's brutal. That is brutal. Even for me, that's hard to see what life happens on the road in Mumbai, right? And you're literally behind the airport. But if you go into the Terminal 2, one of the best structures that you have in the country in that way. Can say Maricom, one free play made India stand firm at international boxing. Well, I don't follow boxing that much, so I don't know. But yes, she was successful. She won, she won things for India. Sadly, said Shubham, none of the promising players couldn't establish themselves in the national team for long run. Masma, probably the biggest wasted talent. I see him playing in Mizoram Premier League. No, he doesn't play anymore, Zoravar. Anymore. I think the 2 success stories are Shubroto and Mangi. Mangi, assistant coach at FC Goa. Yeah. Have you watched interview with Abik, CEO of Kerala C with Ashish, the man saying, I didn't get what he's trying to say, especially about youth team. Says they invest money back into clubs, especially in youth team, but the results say louder than words, where they get relegated from KPL Youth League. They didn't do anything. Those players playing KPL get promoted to senior team individual performance. Goku, I think Abik is in a difficult position because the Kerala Blasters, besides the Kolkata Giants, is the team where you have to work towards your success. And the Blasters' biggest problem is, I think a lot of questions around the Blasters wouldn't be asked if the Blasters had won a trophy. Very simple. If the Blasters had won, doesn't matter, ISL, Durand Cup, Super Cup, and his role is very difficult. Yeah. And therefore, for me, I wish him well, because it's not an easy thing to manage. And on one side, there is a demand from the fans. Let's see what happens. And you add was not that great that they got relegated. What kind of basis they get promoted to senior team? They're not even fully established where the standard is now. They're promoting them because they don't have other options. Goku, the problem is you have to, again, either you're going to buy players for costly money or you're going to promote talent and hope that they get through. And again, I think my favorite example in this, if you want to go back, even in an international setup or Tata Football Academy setup, again, example from 2002, Gauramangi Singh was a bench player in that squad. Apuya, under 17 World Cup squad, was a bench player. So it doesn't mean that if you have not really made it through at your under 18s, under 21 level, that you cannot be a top level player. So who knows? One of these players might, I hope and I wish that they break through. Ranji Perez crossed 1 million Instagram followers, moving fast towards 2 million. FS still spent crores and could not get the hype by just getting in hype sales. Yeah, but and nobody questions, no? You know? So that's the other problem. In tennis doubles, we had good pairs. Saina tried her best, but next generation, again, late 90s, early 2000s was a great time to be an Indian tennis fan. As you say, Leander Paes, Mahesh Bhupathi, world class. Even Rohan Bopanna then came in. And Sania has been the only top-level player of India, men's and women's, that I've seen over the last 3-4 decades. Indian U17 won't qualify for Asian Cup, guaranteed. Ishfaq is not a good coach. Beggar AIFF won't understand and don't have brain to appoint foreigner for age group. Sadly, we are doomed. Okay, let's see. I hope not, but I see where you're coming from and where the potential problem lies. Again, Ishfaq, you can say, but I think also the other problem, that the talent that we are producing, the talent that is coming through, is not the level that has been in the past. Also a question. Do you think Indian society gives more importance to education rather than sports, or does sports strong presence begin with across team? Yeah, I think, Mora, don't need to ask that question. That's a fact. In India, even in the diaspora to some extent, depending on how long you've been in there, and it depends, I think, from ethnicity to ethnicity, education is your prime focus. Yes, 100%. If you are good in sports and you can do sports besides your education, it is fine. Right? So therefore, that's the reality of things. If we like it or not, that's the reality of things. That education is it's the most important thing. And the challenge is, can you combine education with sports? Can you make sports more important from an educational standpoint? That's the challenge in India of today, right? And that's something, do we have an answer to that? I don't know. I honestly don't know if there is an answer to that or not. Right, already more than 1 hour and 13 minutes, 73 minutes into this latest Indian football discussion on a Saturday evening. Quick reminder, if you haven't like, share and subscribe. Again, as always, I know I have to talk about this again and again, but please, guys, need your support to grow this community. So far, 20 likes today. Thanks a lot. Those who haven't, please do share with other people to join in the conversations. And if you are listening, you aren't a subscriber, do subscribe to the channel. We're at 2,811 today. We need to grow this community. More people need to come in. And then, yes, we can, I can try and influence more to go into the right direction. Again, I need your support and I need your background. Mohammed Supergiant defeats Diamond Harbour FC 5-1. As however, there is still a difference between ISL and I-League. And Diamond Harbour is, to me, has to establish themselves as an I-League team, and they're coming from I-League 2. So let's see what happens. So, yeah. There have been another football academy who has been performing youth leagues called Football for Change Academy. They're pretty consistent in all youth league age groups. Don't know whether they fudge. Yeah, Football for Change. Also from Manipur. Good question. I've not heard anything. What happened to sports bill? Like a lot of other things in the parliament, it got stuck because of all that is happening in India and around India, and they've not been able to clear it. So it looks likely that it won't be cleared in the monsoon session, and if it doesn't get cleared in the monsoon session, then this moves to the winter session. What impact does that have on the Supreme Court? Hearing the All India Football Federation Constitution case, that's an interesting one because that might also push things, and that puts, we need to think that the 25-26 season is in real danger. Arun fans, show us power. Thanks, Monali. Again, you, all the others, thank you as always. A lot of you, whenever you can, follow the channel, come to these discussions. To me, very, very important. Without your support, and these discussions, right? I mean, it just has something. I can talk to you through this channel about things because some of the conversations you have around Indian football, even though again Indian football for me is not my job. Indian football for me is a side hustle, is a hobby, and sometimes I feel it's becoming my main job to talk about Indian football with a lot of people. That's something. Any instance you spotted is not football development scam? Yeah, number of times. If any academy in India wants to play good opponents, they should go to Japan. The intensity in game is far higher than Europe. Just watch the school league has more crowd than ISL. The crowd thing is not my criteria in regard to quality, but I do agree with you that the quality is good. And it's not too far away. Actually, nearly as far away as Europe, so to say. But from that perspective, it makes sense. Reliance used to do it, right? Hype all his video, guys. Thanks, Zunavar, for that. Yeah, please, if you can, you see the hype function somewhere or the other on your screen, do hype the videos. It does help, maybe for some people who don't know the channel to come and watch it. And therefore, I always reminder, right? The short videos need your support. They're not getting as many views as they used to get. So therefore, I need to help me to get more views. Do watch them. If you could write something in the sports world, what would have been? Roshan, I think the first thing is to look at what is wrong in the sports world. The 2-3 things which are wrong in the sports world, in my opinion, is that you're trying to, not in AIFF, but in other federations, to protect people who are in the federations at the moment via the sports bill. The second thing is this whole athletes angle, which I'm not a big fan of. I mean, look at Kalyan Chaube, the others in the other committees and what's happening. It's not helping. I just need to look at football. I would rather like to have sports management professionals in there to manage sports. I need more technical cooperation, with countries who are expert in the respective sports and try and bring those expertise into India. And the government needs to fund it more. I think the government funding is a joke, and the level of funding is a joke for sports. So, yeah, those are the things that I would say are very, very important, Roshan. Off-topic questions. Indian origin person, have you ever felt treated differently based on ethnicity? Yes. Yes. Simple answer is yes. This whole Bengali thing which is going on now has happened to me in the past. When I say I'm German, I'm Indian, but of Bengali origin, this and that, everything. Weird connections to the past history of Germany is then created. Yeah, really. Yeah, but I don't bother about it. What makes you happy rather than having interaction with big player compared to audience? Well, as I say, who you would define as a big player, I don't need to define as a big player, right? Some of these guys are friends. So for me, lifelong friends. I'll tell you one example who I would always regard as a very good friend is someone like Rivalry Singh. We've known each other now for 25 years. Yeah. And so therefore for me, that's something which is there. And but again, he's not a star for me, but for big player, right? But he would be, or Baichung or Sunil, those I don't, again, when I'm interacting with them, or even if I say when my experience at Bayern Munich, I did not treat Thomas Müller, even though young, I didn't treat him as a star, or even Franz Beckenbauer. I've had the pleasure of dealing with him a few times in my life. I don't treat them as stars. That's the first thing you shouldn't do. And that's why very often with a lot of people, I don't have good pictures because I don't go there with my camera and say, hey, can we click a picture? I know a lot of people do that. I don't do that. So, but talking to you guys, Yeah. What else to say? I think if you collaborate with Ashish Negi, it will boost your channel significantly. Ashish is 1 million plus followers. And yeah, so I've actually spoken with Ashish, and again, it's my thing. I actually wanted to do a lot of interviews over the last 2-3 weeks, but due to other work commitments, sadly, again, this is, as I always like to say, this for me is a side hustle. This is a fun project. Yeah, let's see. Is Khalid Jamil deal done with AIFF? Blue, good question. Zoravar answers it for you. Not yet, as Khalid wants 3-year contract, but AIFF wants him as interim. Yeah, so that's the summary. Khalid, 2+1 at least, ideally 3. AIFF till March. Qualify us, and then we talk. India losing all their matches on the Khalid is good. At least Indian footy fans will come back to earth from moon where they think Indian managers are better than Goras. See? And and saying Goras, for example. You might think it's not a problem, but actually factually that is racist. Any instance now is different in India, especially I felt working in sports project, your thoughts on that work. Really, this whole work thing in sports, for example, work the weekends. Do I count my hours during the weekends? No, I don't. So therefore, it is some of these things, yeah, you'll say it's like this, it's like that, but we all have to live with it. District cricket coach in India will be better than national level Nepal coach. Same way for football. Sadly, we don't think using brain. Yeah. I don't know. Your thoughts on East Bengal Tifo during Namdari match? Raj, I followed it. Yeah, they have a point because also East Bengal as a club by Indian football fans is being called Bangladeshi. Right? So there is a political angle to this, sadly. And I think if you ask people in other parts of India, they will not even understand this. So, yeah. And if you're a Bengali Muslim, you're automatically now Bangladeshi. So there are levels of these things, right? So therefore, East Bengal and its fans need to stand for things, for values, which is good. Again, I think all teams should have, but so yeah, that's the reality. Giving 3-year contract is bonkers anyway. Giving him the contract itself is weird. Yeah, Blue, that's the point. Forget 3 years. Even thinking about giving him a contract is a problem, in my opinion. And but how are you going to sort it? I have no clue. I have no idea which way we need to go, because we are stuck. Because there are people, and yeah, it's very complex and very complicated at the moment, I would say, right? And therefore, I don't know if the AIFF has gotten itself in a good position. No, Indian managers. Khalid is very overrated manager. In my opinion, is better than him in terms of tactics flexibility. Oh. Khalid has 0. Yeah, but and then M answers Sanjay Sen and all are overrated. No Indian coaches, but and that's the whole point. I think there's some talented Indian coaches, but yeah, that's the point, right? Today, Mohan Bagan also showed similar tifo regarding the Bengali harassment issues as fans. Sorry, and that's important. Blue, I think it's very, very important. Sorry, I think it's very, very important that these kind of social issues that the Indian football fans also stand up for the right thing. Yeah. So yeah. How do you see India as a country nowadays? We see hate towards India and abroad news as a person working in both countries. Murali, there is no one side. There are two sides to the story. Is racism around the world growing? Yes, no doubt about it. Are a lot of Indians who now go abroad don't know the basics of how to behave and do these things and everything? No, they don't. Right? The older generation that I know who've come here to work hard in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, they know what to do, not to do. It's the people who've come over the last 10, 15 years, or rather the last 10 to 5 years rather than 50. So therefore, yeah. But That's the problem. I gave cricket example for this only. Best Indian footy coach will still not be good. More than third division European coach. Maybe even lower. I'm wondering, like those who made this kind of mess to Indian football are promising we'll sort it out the correct way for Indian football can't show, but truly a convincing start. Gokul, let's wait and see. I don't think so that there is a way out of this at the moment. Lota and Goti are common in Bengal, especially Kolkata, but rest of India won't understand. Exactly, Raj. I mean, it is a banter thing, but the question is that the Goti and Lota or Goti and Bangal, I would rather say, that they should rather come together and fight for a common cause, which is actually, they will not differentiate between a Goti and and what is not a Goti. They're putting all Bengalis in one basket. Tactic aside, park the bus, no offensive play. There are better Indian coaches. The name of getting an Indian coach is the criteria. Yeah, Zorawar, but but again, Japan is one of the most disciplined structure, not only the player but also the country function. Yeah, they are different. The Japanese are different. I guess Kajum went to Nepal for a stint but failed. Roshan, he's had multiple stints who failed. Bangalore United, East Bengal, and Mohun Bagan to name three. When Petratos was received at Kolkata airport, Mohun Bagan passed some not so good slogans against East Bengal. That happens, right? United fans will say bad things about City. Fans will say bad things about United. Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal will say bad things about each other. That's not the problem. The problem is, to what level will you go, right? Will you go to an argument stage, or you want to do more? And this is what has happened is what I feel is with everything else in life. A lot of people in today's world have gotten radicalized by social media. That is, in my opinion, a huge danger, right? So therefore, yeah, big problem, but we'll have to see what happens. It's sad to see all these things. They're calling the same language people Bangladesh what their national song and anthem is written. Yeah, Blue, but that's the problem, right? It's a lack of knowledge, right? Someone said something to me. That northeastern people called Chinese, Tamilians are called Sri Lankans, Kashmiris are called Pakistanis, and other things, right? And that's the problem. Indian is Indian, irrespective of where you come from, right? That is the problem. This whole regionalism thing, which is a trend of the last 20, 30 years, has not helped India. Rather than strengthening India, it has weakened. And I know from my northeastern friends that there's been a problem with them for years. So yeah, that's the problem. Even East Bengal fans pass bad things against Moma after Seafield Derby win. It's not one-sided, yeah. It's both-sided. If you see in last 10 years, the general wave of Indians changed my personal views. Yeah, 100%. Will we see OCI play in our lifetime? And can a U17 OCI play now without passport? Why not scout a Danny Bath at 16 and wait for him to reach 30? Because theoretically, 17-year-old OCI can play, but he needs to have an Indian passport, and none of them have an Indian passport. So the whole conversation doesn't work. Like, I don't know the history of both regarding what they are fighting for. Goku, they're fighting for the club, first of all. But Mohun Bagan is the club of the people of Kolkata. East Bengal is the club of the people who have migrated from what is Bangladesh to now Kolkata. And the Muslim population in Kolkata, around Bengal, or maybe theoretically around India or South Asia at some stage, support Mohammedan Sporting, right? Muslim population. So that's the rivalry amongst these three. The current ruling party use hate, divide, and rule for their politics. So I'm not blaming only Mohan, but also Ismo is equally responsible. We need to grow up. Yeah, Raj, but that's the problem, right? Yeah, that's the reality. We often highlighted for civic sense. I remember when I was working for Round Glass. This is a few years back, right? I used to travel on train a few times from Delhi to Chandigarh. You drive out of New Delhi railway station. It left and right, it's a dumping yard. It doesn't look good. So therefore, there are these issues that are highlighted are actually issues. In my opinion, they are real issues. Right. So the civic sense thing is throwing out stuff here and there. Why are the streets, let's say in Southeast Asia or in East Asia, different? Right. Roshan says, Arnavo Abik revealed in interview Odisha FC didn't pay stadium rent despite of Kaiwas coaching. Yeah. Why did Odisha FC go to Odisha? It's not because of their football culture, right? So they moved there because they were able to get a stadium free, training facilities free, and Odisha as a state became front of shirt sponsor for a certain period of money. There are companies who sponsor them. Yeah. Otherwise, why would they move there, right? And the Blasters are in a different situation. And again, yes, they do not get the support of the municipality. They don't get the support of the government. Otherwise, I think the Kerala government and the municipality have been talking about building a football-specific stadium for the Blasters of 50, 60,000 capacity. The Kochi Nehru Stadium is, I mean, Javier Shepi said that in 2017 ahead of the Under-17 World Cup. Normally, the stadium should be holding matches. Yeah. Avneet Bhartia's Indian passport plays in Europe yet never called for national team. He doesn't play in Europe. He plays somewhere in South America. How many matches has he played over the years? With all due respect, Saurav. You know his quality to be called up to the... Again, that's the problem, right? Because this, again, is a social media story. And I don't know, you don't know what the quality is. But he's never played regularly at long enough somewhere to be playing. How do you see quota in sports? There shouldn't be quota in sports. I think sports is something where the best should play. Fittest of the... survival of the fittest, sorry. Right? Yeah. Sports is not something where you should use quota, in my opinion. Again, I know in India there's a different thought, but I don't think so. By the way, Punjab FC lost against Bodoland FC 1-0. Yeah, so now shows you, huh? By the way, Kerala Mr. spent 13 lakhs on Messi, I heard. Why not they saying 130 crores or something? Blue, I think I'm confused because I've heard so many numbers. I know from someone that a sponsor was willing to put, I think, 50 or 60 crores in, right? The whole thing shebang would have cost, I think, 130 to 150, right? That money has not been raised. And the government has spent some money to, I think they traveled to Argentina and all that stuff, no, Spain or whatever. I don't know where they've traveled to. No, they traveled to Argentina. They didn't travel to Spain. And again, the danger is if Argentina says we want to play, yeah, we're ready to play in Kerala. Put the money on the table and they'll do it. But you didn't. So this whole thing is that they're saying we put the money on the table now coming. No, you've never did. You missed timelines. And now this is the funny part of the Indian media. And again, we go back to this whole Xavi Hernandez story. Nobody has done their homework. Nobody has gone and reached out to the Argentinian Football Association and said, guys, what is the real story behind this? Is this actually factually true? Because I said last year, right, that to me, this thing is not going to happen because finally it's going to fall flat because of the money. You know? And incoming, yeah. Don't talk about what it's all about. Money. His father came to club. He doesn't have time. Okay, Goku. Do you think socioeconomic another reason for lack of development? There are huge countries around the world who are still developing, right? And countries who've come out of poverty and all. So I think it is about the people. The organizers who are planning to bring Argentina team are planning to take legal action against them. So let them. But from what I know out of Argentina is that the whole money has never been paid. So again, and Indian media is not cross-checking. If any ISL team could make profit, it was Blasters, but management led it to downfall. I don't think so, because the problem is with the Blasters is that their management clearly said, you have to work within a stipulated budget. If you're saying that they are the team to make profits, then I would have to counter your point by saying, you know what, the Blasters are in a situation because they have not overspent. If they were trying to compete with the Mohun Bagan Supergiant, the Blasters' losses would automatically go up by 10, 15 crores a year. And this is what the owners clearly said, we're not doing this. Kerala government want Messi, but don't focus on helping Blasters and Gokulam Kerala. Yeah, but that again, these are two things which are not interconnected, right? The general football fan in Kerala is either an Argentina or Brazil fan. Brazil at the moment is in shambles, so that's why they're not considering Brazil. They want to do a little bit of a dhamaka, and that's how the whole Argentina thing came about. But for Indian standards, to raise 130, 150 crores, again, I don't know which figure is true, is a lot of money. We're talking about 13 to 15 million euros, which is okay, to get Argentina. Sounds okay for me. But in an Indian context, to raise that kind of money is difficult. So the money has not been raised. If someone is saying, I've got the money ready and you've not paid it because you've missed timelines, right? We are in August. Argentina has to finalize their schedule. That's why they're playing elsewhere. Why are not European clubs coming to play in India in the summer break? The only teams that have come, sorry, I brought in, be it Bayern, be it Hoffenheim, because why? The Germans wanted to do it. Nobody else has done it with teams. The Kolkata Derby has now become India versus Bangladesh. It's sad to see, but hate is becoming more and more violent. It's not about just number of the Raj, very, very, very important point. Kolkata Derby is more violent past. At least at present there are almost no fans. Again, but the problem is that Raj has said this is very, very right. And I think the Mohun Bagan fans themselves at some stage need to recognize is, you know what? Yes, your East Bengal fan is your rival. But the point at the end of the day is how you want to be thrown in the same boat. Yeah. So that's the problem. I think that is something that the Mohun Bagan fans down the road will need to understand. In other parts of India, they will not differentiate between you and an East Bengal fan or a Mohammedan Sporting fan. If you are coming around as you're someone from Bengal, this is, I think, the realization the Bengalis need to have. Do you think foreigners often not used for chaos? Because when I watch this, especially coming in for time shop, yeah, of course, Murali. We've talked about it, right? Foreigners in India yeah. Where has the 750 crore gone, which AIFF got from F? Still need a full audit of last 15 years. Running the AIFF. You don't need an audit. I can tell you. What the AIFF has a budget of 120 crores, right? Approximately. You get 50 crores from Reliance. That is your main funding. So the point is, what people don't understand, running of the I-League, running of I-League 2, I-League 3, IWL, Santosh Trophy, women's nationals, junior nationals, national team, men's, women's, juniors, all of that is funded from, amongst others, that 50 crores. So you don't need an audit. If anyone is saying that money is there, again, prove to me that this and that has been siphoned off on a majority, right? And that's the reality. All these conspiracies, they're siphoning. Listen, there is not money. The AIFF doesn't know how to run its season at the moment. Even if I take 5 rupees out, that 5 rupees will be missing at the end. So then do you think that these people will be taking 5 rupees out there? It won't work. I sent it to the weather, especially Portugal. Well, yeah, it's hot. It's humid. My problem is rather than outside, sometimes inside, where you're in AC buildings, where they cool it down to 18 degrees, right? Where I like, hey, you could have done it to 21, I find, because the contrast of going out is very, very hard. So therefore, for me, and again, post Diwali pollution in Delhi, yes, is always a problem. Not only to me, I think to a lot of people. Even those who live in Delhi tell me that they have a problem with it. So yes, it is a problem. All European leagues want Indian viewership, nothing else. They have lied of playing pre-season friendlies. No, they've not lied, Rivalry. They have been very clear. You might view it as that they have lied. No, the clubs have been, we would like to play in India. What is wrong by saying that? But someone has to fund it. Matches in Singapore, in China, in Southeast Asia, in Australia, in the US, even in Mexico, even in Scandinavia are funded by someone or the other. They don't come for, for a joyride. In India, we want everything for free. Nahi hota hai. It has to be funded and has to be paid for. That is the problem. Because then you say a few years back, when United said they would play pre-season friendly in India, nothing happened. Yeah, because no one was willing to pay them the money. Man United won 3-4 million Euros or not even euros, they want pounds. Is someone putting up that money for them to come here? I was able to do Bayern Munich a few times because after the first trip, which was funded by Bengal PLS, Oliver Kahn's final game in 2008, all the other trips were funded by German companies. And Hoffenheim was funded by Hoffenheim and the Bundesliga. German student national team, funded by the German side. So that's the reality. Well, the Bengal versus Goti thing was pretty sidelined in last decade. It again came in last few years. I think the current trend is hatred. Bengal should be united in this. 100% blue. And that's, for me, for me, that's very, very important. But that has to be understood in Bengal, that the Bengali from the other side theoretically is the enemy. It's not. What I tell you also, what I realized last month when I was in London, when we were at West Ham for the Desi Ballers event. In the UK, there are people who are trying to make a differentiation between Pakistanis, Indians, Bangladeshis, Sri Lankans, or Nepalis. But most of the people realize, listen, we are South Asians. We are in the same boat. Forget this Bengali thing. This is a realization that you don't have in South Asia. That for foreigners, for example, you are in England, you are abused with the P word, right? So this is, more hate is more views. BCI minted thousands of crore in early days by playing Pakistan again and again. So let's not become snowflakes and use the hate to our advantage. Yeah, but if it is playing sports, and it's not about hate, it's about competition, right? What is it? Dubai? I think Dubai used to host it, no? At that time it was different, and today it's different. Today it is, I think some people would say, real hate. That's the problem, in my opinion. Your prediction for tomorrow's U20 girls, I have hopes that the girls can get the win home, but I cannot judge how, Ajax are bottling it in. Just Roshan, I have no clarity. I think Joachim as a coach will prepare I think the biggest danger is from learnings from the past, we have now something to lose, right? We are always better when we have to do catching up, as we saw with the senior team. And that is my fear. Now is that this reminds me of Stephen Constantine in India, the 2019 AFC Asian Cup. Similarly, in other competitions, whenever we had something to lose, we lost. And the women, for example, against Thailand, there was nothing potential to lose because, it was even. So therefore, for me, I want them to win because that is clear. But I don't know. Honestly, don't know. Let's wait and see. Let's hope for the best. I'm hoping for the best because, I think the women's game has been a shining light in all the realities that we've been facing in the men's game. Good night, Zorawar. Thanks for joining again. Good to see you. Someone just posted 1 month super giant 5-1. Oh God. Yeah, but Blue, that's the problem, right? That's the understanding of people, and therefore, what else to say? This is part of the problem that we put it down to this, and What went wrong when we hosted answers in one World Cup? Our team was horrible. We had COVID. I think COVID was a big factor. There was a mess around the AIFF. So that's the difficult team, and you didn't have competitions, you didn't have proper scouting platforms because of COVID. So we were not prepared. We didn't even have an under-17 women's setup as such. Unlike the boys, which had tournaments, this and that, everything, leagues, the women's youth setup is still not very strong in India. So you will get different reaction if you post same thing, but from different ethnic groups in India. From North Indian, fine. For South Indian, you are IS agent. For Bengal, Bangladesh, etc., etc. I think they will. Blue, 100%. It's at the moment it's a problem, but I hope that things change. And I know because I did my interview with Zoeb Rashid from Desi Ballers, right? And Zoeb is of Pakistani origin, right? And Zoeb is a very good old friend of mine. I was one of his. I remember he said, you were my second interview when he was with Eastern Eye. Isha Guha, the former cricket player, was his first, and I was his second interview. And we've been friends since then. That was 19 years ago. And no one will tell me who can be my friend or not. And again, Zoeb and I will on certain things not agree. But again, we agree to disagree on certain things. That's fine amongst friends, if you're real friends, right? So for me, I also say that if I look at when I signed people at Mumbai City in regard to my support staff, I actually never bothered what the ethnicity or the religion of that person was. You know, I remember someone to Mumbai ka team, they have to sign Maharashtrians and all that stuff. I remember someone said that to me. I said, no, but how do I define that, right? So again, different conversations on that. Sadly, but these are things of India in 2025. Hopefully it gets better, as I say. But once more, the reminder: like, share, subscribe. I'm hoping tomorrow that we'll have a good day where the India U20 women's national team beat Myanmar and qualify for the Asian finals and make it 2 after the senior women's team. Again, we need some good news. And as always, I need your support. As I say, I need your support, guys. Help this channel. Help me to grow. Let's spread right information on Indian football. What should be the way forward, in my opinion. And again, you don't have to agree. I might be wrong on something. Convince me that I'm wrong. If you can't, I'll say that, sorry, I was right. But Arunfoot needs your support. Arunav Chaudhary needs your support whenever you can. Watch the short videos. As I say, I'm putting quite a bit of effort into those, trying to bring across those things. And without your support, this channel can't grow. As I repeat myself, so therefore, that is very, very needed. People use regionalism to counter nationalism, especially in Indian context. Yeah, and that's not helping. That regionalism anywhere in the world doesn't help, right? Good night, Blue. Good night, everybody else. I won't be doing a live tomorrow, as I said early in the show, in the Niederrhein Pokal, KFC Oerding versus SS4 Bergsporn, our local Remscheid team playing in a bigger team in a former Bundesliga club. So I'm looking forward to that. And then, let me see. And M says, please do some interviews and bring high views, especially OCI related. You can get X-Time current views. Just see other channels, daily posting OCI views. I posted something with Zoeb as Desi Bowler, someone who covers the OCI topic. Didn't get views, I know. And we did it outside of the London Stadium. The longest, nicest interview, I thought. But again, I'll see. Thanks a lot. Good night, everyone.